my brother's brain just like they destroyed Claire's because his anxiety was inconvenient for them. I confronted them that night. "You can't do this to him," I said. "What you did to Claire was criminal." Dad barely looked up from his newspaper. "We're the parents. We decide what's best." Mom smiled that same sick smile. "Actually, we've been noticing you seem awfully worked up lately. All this anger and hysteria. Maybe you need the same help Claire got." She pulled out a brochure from her purse. It had my name already written on the intake form. "Your appointment is next Tuesday." That night, I couldn't sleep. The appointment card sat on my desk where Mom left it. White paper with Tuesday 2 p.m. circled 3 times in red marker. My hands kept shaking every time I looked at it. 6 days. I had 6 days to figure out how to stop them from doing to me what they did to Claire. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her empty face staring at nothing. I kept calculating the hours. Tuesday was 144 hours away, then 143, then 142. The numbers wouldn't stop running through my head. At 3 a.m., I gave up trying to sleep and pulled out my laptop. I grabbed everything I'd been collecting about Claire over the past year. Photos of the scars on her temples, the surgical consent forms I'd found in Dad's filing cabinet with signatures that didn't match Mom's handwriting, videos on my phone of Claire's flat voice answering questions. I uploaded it all to a cloud storage account I'd set up using a fake email address. Mom and Dad didn't know about this account. They thought they controlled all my passwords, but I'd been preparing for something like this. The upload bar crawled across the screen while I chewed my nails down to nothing. After everything finished uploading, I copied it all onto a USB drive. I needed a backup somewhere they'd never look. My tampon box. Dad wouldn't touch it if the house was on fire, and Mom never went through my bathroom stuff. I wrapped the USB in a plastic bag and buried it under the tampons at the bottom of the box. My brother's door was closed when I walked past his room, but I could hear him crying. I knocked quietly and slipped inside. He was curled up under his blankets, shaking. His face was red and wet, and he grabbed my hand the second I sat on his bed. He asked me in this tiny voice if they were going to make him stop feeling things too. My chest hurt so bad I could barely breathe. I promised him I wouldn't let that happen. I promised, even though I had no idea how I was going to keep that promise. He held onto my hand until he fell asleep, and I stayed there watching him breathe. At breakfast, Mom asked what time we were leaving Tuesday. I kept my voice normal and casual like we were discussing a dentist appointment. She gave me this smile that made my skin crawl. She said early enough that I wouldn't have time to get nervous. Dad turned the TV volume up louder. Sports highlights blared through the kitchen. This was normal family conversation to them, planning to scramble my brain over cereal. After school that day, I went straight to my room and pulled out my old phone. It didn't have service anymore, but it still worked on Wi-Fi. I'd kept it charged and hidden in my desk drawer. Now I needed somewhere better. The heating vent in my room had a loose grate. I unscrewed it and found a flat space inside where I could wedge the phone. I wrapped it in a sock to protect it and pushed it back as far as I could reach. Then I took the $40 in cash I'd been saving from birthday money and stuffed it in there too. If they tried to force me into that car on Tuesday, I needed a way to call for help. At lunch the next day, I texted Jessica our coded message. "Can you check on my fish Tuesday afternoon?" We'd set this up months ago after I first found out what they did to Claire. If she didn't hear from me by 3 p.m. on Tuesday, something was wrong. She texted back a thumbs up emoji. Seeing that tiny symbol made me feel slightly less alone. After school, I went to Claire's room. She was sitting on her bed staring at the wall like always. I pulled out my phone and showed her old photos of us from before. Pictures of us laughing at the beach, making faces in the mirror, hugging on Christmas morning. She looked at each photo for exactly 3 seconds. Then she said, "We appear happy in these images." Her voice was